government. Now, let's listen to former Finance Minister Seth Terkper on what our chances are and whether or not running to the IMF will worsen our current condition. He spoke on the AM show earlier.
Well, the government is supposed to, when they arrive, that's the staff coming, supposed to give a position, because we invited them, as I said, like the Homegrown, and say this is, what we want to do. In the absence of that, since these were agreed, then this is going to be the basis for the discussion.
Okay.
These were agreed with government. There was a staff visit in April.
Yes.
So if the government is not prepared and they haven't told us what they are, I went to Parliament to tell Ghanaians what we're going to put before the IMF. So this, what I am reading now, and I urge Ghanaians to read for themselves. It's now on the website, Article 4, 2021. Let your producers and then we can have a conversation and you see the revelations. So in the absence of our own program, these are going to be the basis. Are you going to put, in fact, they spoke about Bank of Ghana and expect that Bank of Ghana will go back to zero financing. Are we capable? We went to zero financing. Bank of Ghana financed half of the deficit in 2020. They never gave COVID as a reason. They said if they were, it's in the MPC report, again you can download it, that if they were not to give government support, government would have difficulty borrowing and interest rates will go up. The very thing that is happening now. That was the reason.
And so usually when the staff of the IMF arrive and their deliberations and engagements, are there changes made to the policy document?
Well, eventually, okay, so after the engagement, it will take line by line. It will take what they are saying on revenue, what is the expenditure position, because that is what is leading to the deficit on the fiscal side. So what measures do you have over the 3 years or so of the program, to bring it to manageable proportions so that it stops increasing, the debt, which is a major concern. Then they go to the sector, energy sector. In fact, they spoke about energy sector. This document is very important. I urge Ghanaians to look at it. They'll talk about energy sector because the sectors, particularly the World Bank staff that are likely to come, they are interested in the sectors because they give budgets of support to all these sectors. And then they go to the monetary, led by the governor, and they will tell them all the things that they want to do, interest rate policy and all that, all those rates. And they have consultations with labor and other chamber of commerce and all those. So it's a very broad base, Then they put all this together, and then so they'll then come with what they think needs to be done against the government position, right? And then you come to some form of compromise. And that is what goes into the Memorandum of Economic Policy and Economic and Financial Policy and the Letter of Intent, which the Minister and the Governor, signs. Yes. So, and it's only then that you would have concluded. So this negotiation, if we have a position on all of this, can be fast. Otherwise, it takes a while, 6 to 9 months.
Back to my earlier question, based on this document that you've seen and all the issues you've raised in that document.
It's an official document.
Yes, I know. Yes. So should we expect, back to my question, should we expect tougher conditions? Because a lot of people appear to be very concerned about that. We are in difficult times. The cost of living keeps rising. Should we expect, like in your case, a freeze on salaries, a freeze on employment? I mean, per your experience, expertise, and what you've seen in this document.
Well, the government has to justify. The government, look, the point is it in our interest to reduce the deficit? I think we must ask ourselves as Ghanaians, is it in our interest to reduce the deficit? So that we can have debt that is manageable? Is it in our interest to stop putting energy sector costs as amortization only when it is paid? Is it in our interest not to reflect SDR, which we received? We didn't show it as revenue. Then we showed it straight. Why? Because if you showed it as revenue, one of the reasons is that then it means that the deficit will narrow. And you wouldn't have to take money from the stabilization fund. So those are questions we have to ask ourselves first. And this, for us, were the things that prompted us to do Senchi consultation. Because you are asking questions now. Labor, everybody will be there. Because you are going into a program that will affect all of them. Right? And remember, we wanted to do a homegrown policy. In fact, there's a feeling that we said we didn't want to go to IMF. No, we were negotiating intermediate programs. They have some programs, like the policy support instrument, PSI. where you say, this is my policies, we agree with you, but we are not taking your money, which we believe, you know, with the buffers that we left. Or you can also do it, and that comes with a standby agreement, which means that in a period like COVID, that's when you go.